Hello folks. Alright, so this is my setup map from yesterday. It's not really going to be that different. The red low, once again, is the secondary low that's going to bring most of southern New England the lighter snow. So the blue low is the main storm, and that will be passing south of where the secondary low is going to be passing. Your baroclinic zone, once again, is the temperature gradient. In the pink, you're going to have really cold temperatures that the Arctic cold front is going to be ushering in, and then high pressure is going to aid in keeping that area very cold. The orange area is going to be spring-like, and then the purple is where your very big temperature gradient is going to be. So in the cold area, you're going to have temperatures in the 20s and 30s, and then, just 50 miles south, you're going to be in the 50s and 60s. So what that does is you have two different air masses that are very close together, and as the low pressure absorbs moisture from the Gulf and the Atlantic, the warm moist air is going to go on top of the cold air, and that's going to condense, and it's going to create heavy snow on areas north of the low. So this area here, as the blue low pressure, it's going to form heavy bands of snow in this area. And as I said before, sorry, my phone's not focusing. As I said before, the heavy snow is going to try to go up here, but the cold dry air is going to have to fight with that, so most of the heavy snow is going to be right just north of the low. So that's your setup. And then your burst of you're going to get an additional burst of light to moderate snow with the secondary low up here. Okay, so that's your setup. Now let's talk about impacts countrywide. I guess we'll start with, what do we want to start with here? We'll start with the southern end of the storm and move up. So in the south, it's going to be warm, so what are you going to get? You're going to get thunderstorms. So this is the thunderstorm threat for today. Severe thunderstorms are going to be possible in eastern Texas, in Louisiana, southern Alabama, and western Mississippi. You're going to have to watch there. Not Alabama, Arkansas, I'm sorry. Gotta know my states, right? So eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and southern Mississippi. I think I got it that time. Anywhere in the red that you're going to get severe thunderstorms. Looking at the short range ensemble model, you're going to have wind shear is going to be near 50 knots in over eastern Texas. So that's very conducive in the upper atmosphere for storms to rotate, perhaps. So you might get a couple of supercells that could rotate. Also, the low-level jet is going to be present, so you might get some lines of storms to form. What else was I looking at? I was looking at shear. Oh, lapse rates are also going to be pretty high, so you might get some hail. What I mean by lapse rates is the clouds, they try to climb into the atmosphere, and the higher the lapse rates are, the higher they climb in the atmosphere. So that's going to be conducive for some hail. So based on that, I think the main threats with some of these thunderstorms are going to be hail, damaging winds, and very heavy rains as there's a lot of moisture. So watch out in that area. And then the thunderstorm threat in the orange, they're not going to be severe, because what's going to happen is as the day goes on, as the storms go further east, the dynamics that they need to be severe are going to weaken. There's not really going to be that many dynamics as you move east. So the shear is going to go away, your lapse rates are going to decrease, the winds in the upper atmosphere are going to slow down a little bit because the storm is going to be weakening as it moves east, because it has to battle the high pressure up north and the cold air mass. So thunderstorms are basically just going to be non-severe as you go further east out of the red, and into Monday still be a thunderstorm threat, but it'll be weaker. So that's south. Why don't we go right ahead and talk about snow accumulations? Let me get my interstate map up so I can use that as a reference. Alright, I think this is the one I was using yesterday, right? So this is my new snowfall map. Where did I put it? Here we go. So this is from now through Monday. Okay, I didn't write the key, but in the red you have 8 to 12, in the orange 5 to 8, in the purple 3 to 5, blue 1 to 3. Okay, so your 1 to 3 inch line is going to start probably just north of I-91, right? Hold on, I'm going to do it this way. Just north of I-91, okay? And then it's going to go westward along I-80, and it's going to continue along I-80 all the way through northern Ohio, northern Indiana, northern Illinois, and then it's going to continue westward through, I believe that is Nebraska, eastern Colorado, and down into Oklahoma and Texas, and then back up through Tennessee, maybe northern Alabama, maybe northern Mississippi. They're probably not going to get a lot. And then southern Virginia. So that's your 1 to 3 inch line. Most areas are going to see 1 to 3 I-80 and south, and then most people north of I-80 are going to just see less than an inch. Okay, Pittsburgh, you're going to get 1 to 3. You're not going to get more than that. Okay, so that's that. Your 3 to 5 line is going to start. It's actually going to start on the North Fork of Long Island. Your 3 to 5. It's going to start. Maybe it's going to start. I'll get to specifics on Long Island in the next video, but it's going to start northern Long Island. It's going to go west through New York City, and then probably along the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Your 3 to 5 is going to start there, and it's going to continue going west along I-71. Alright? Or is that too far south? I-71 is probably in the 3 to 5. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I would say in the 3 to 5. And then it's going to continue west along there through central Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, and then their 3 to 5 will continue into Oklahoma, Kansas, then it'll come back up like so. Alright, Trenton, you're going to be around 3 to 5 inches. You'll probably be closer to 5. Anywhere else I can think of? I think that's it for that area. Your 5 to 8 is going to start, let's see. Your 5 to 8 is going to start southern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, going westward. Actually, that's probably more like I-70, I would say. I-70 is probably going to be the start of the 5 to 8. And it's going to continue going west along there. Probably along I-74. Going west. And so, if you want to be specific here, Philadelphia, you're going to get 5 to 8. Most of southern New Jersey, 5 to 8. Illinois, southern Illinois, 5 to 8. Kentucky, southern Kentucky and northern Kentucky, 5 to 8. Central Virginia, 5 to 8. And central West Virginia, 5 to 8. So that's that. And then you have a very slim 8 to 12 line. It's probably going to be more like 8 to 10. Excuse me, I lost my interstate map. Hold on. Alright, so you have a very narrow 8 to 12 line because there's going to be a very narrow area of heavy snow. If you live along I-81 in central Virginia and I-77, you'll probably get close 8 to 10. Washington, D.C., 8 to 10, definitely. Most of Delaware, 8 to 10. And then spreading westward into Kentucky, 8 to 10, central Kentucky. I don't think you get it more than 10 inches. Maybe a couple of isolated areas up to a foot. But Washington, D.C. are in the core of the heaviest snow for this storm. Plus, you're going to get a tenth of an inch of ice. So, you know, this is a big storm for you guys down there in the red. Okay? The last threat with this storm is ice. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but your red is going to be your ice accumulation of over 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so Kentucky, southern West Virginia, western Virginia, northern and western Tennessee, and Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. You guys are all at risk for quarter of an inch or more of ice. That seems to go along I-40. So if you live along I-40, you're probably going to see up to a quarter of an inch of ice, and that'll be north of I-20. You're gonna in the purple there. So the purple is going to start north of I-20. That's a lighter ice accumulation of quarter of an inch or less, mainly tenth of an inch. Washington, D.C., you're going to be around a tenth of an inch of ice, maybe less. So big ice storm as well for the areas in red, so watch out. So not only are you going to have a heavy ice accumulation, but you're going to get 5 to 8 inches of snow on top of that in some areas. And in the case of Washington, D.C., you're going to get a tenth of an inch of ice and then 8 to 10 inches of snow on top of that. So, watch out there. Everywhere else, if you live near the purple, you might get like 1/100 of an inch of ice, but nothing more than that. Next video focuses on NYC and Long Island.